Hey guys, and today I'm going to be teaching you about transcription in a prokaryote. What is transcription? Transcription is a process of copying a gene's DNA to transcribe it into making and creating a molecule's or gene's RNA. There are multiple moving parts in transcription in order to create RNA. This is DNA, this is RNA. Initiation is the first part. First off, the main enzyme needed is the RNA polymerase. This enzyme produces phosphodiester bonds, which helps the 5' be able to join nucleotides together. However, there is a vital piece of the RNA polymerase that has to occur, and that is that the sigma bond has to be added to the core to make a hollow enzyme. This helps bind and also unwind the DNA. By binding and unwinding the DNA, which forms a transcription bubble, seen here, it binds at the promoter region, which is made up of a consensus sequences. Consensus sequences are sequences that describe the nucleotides that are most often present in a segment that you are interested in. There are two consensus sequences that are present and make up the promoter region. The promoter region is where the hollow enzyme first binds to start unwinding the DNA molecule. The first promoter region is a -35 region, seen here. This region is located -35 places upstream from the +1 start site. The start site is where the transcription starts. The second promoter region is a -10 region, also known as the Tata box. The -35 and -10 consensus sequences are recognized by the sigma bond, so the core enzyme and the sigma associate and bind to the promoter region. When this binding occurs, the DNA strands separate and, like mentioned before, form a transcription bubble. The sigma dissociates after about 9 to 12 nucleotides are joined to help form the RNA. Elongation occurs into 5'3" direction, and this is done with only the core enzyme. Next comes termination, which occurs a few different ways. First way is by an inverted repeat happening. The repeat is where you have some nucleotides crossed in the wrong place. So the 4 circled here should be up top and not on the bottom like they are. This crossover leads to the hairpin formation, which causes a loop in the RNA transcription, seen here. The second is row-independent termination. This happens when row is bound to the RNA and moves through towards the 3' and also the RNA polymerase. This polymerase pauses at the termination hairpin. This row has helicase activity that causes the DNA and RNA hybrid to unwind and thus transcription to end in the prokaryote. Helicase activity is what helps unwind the double-stranded nucleic acids. So in this example, you have the coding strand, which this is what the RNA polymerase binds to. And then you have the +1 site, which is transcription start site, and then this is your promoter region. And then you also have a termination site, which can happen by the UUUUs, which is where the polymerase just falls off, or, like mentioned before, the hairpin loop. So what would happen if you put 5 base pairs inserted into this promoter region? Well, there are 2 different outcomes. The first one is whatever that 5 base pair is going to control or represent in the gene, it can either continue translating and then the gene is just going to be anti whatever that base pair is or need that base pair in order to help the polymerase bind, or it can cause such a disruption in the polymerase reading the data that basically it's going to fall off and cause transcription to stop in the prokaryote. And here are my sources.